Yesterday we did osmosis, and I told you the applications where the osmosis can be used. That was the last topic we did yesterday, and it was for the closing and opening of stomata, movement of leaves, like the leaves droop when touched in case of Mimosa pudica. Germination of seeds, which is diffusion. Now, what is diffusion? This is the next topic which we are going to start with. Now, diffusion is, this is, as you know, I told you there are two types of transports, active and passive. Diffusion is considered as a passive transport because no ATPs are utilized. So we can say that diffusion is a passive transport as the ATPs are not utilized. So it is a type of passive transport. Now, that means ATPs are not utilized. Why ATPs are not utilized? Because the movement of particles is along the concentration. It is along the concentration gradient. The movement is along the concentration gradient. What do you mean by along the concentration gradient? That is from, just a minute, change my time. That is from higher this is along the, that is why there is no utilization of ATPs. Now, in this case, like in case of osmosis, the movement is through the semi-permeable membrane, but here in this case, no semi-permeable membrane. The example, as I told you, where the incense stick is, suppose here one incense stick is burning, and from this incense stick, the smoke, it is coming out, and that means there is no, there is no semi-permeable membrane, and from this area zone, it will move on to where it is less in concentration. So this movement is, and there is no semi-permeable membrane which is present, so it is not required. It is not present in case of diffusion. One more is, there is, in case of osmosis, the movement is of solvent particles, but here movement is of solute particles. What shows movements are solute particles, not the solvent particles. Whereas in case of osmosis, the movement is of solvent particles. In case of diffusion, what moves are solute particles. Now, this movement of solute particles can be of three forms. It can be of three forms. And what are those three forms by which the solute particles move? Number one is solid solute movement of solid solute particles. First is solid solute particles, they move. Okay, solid solute particles movement. That means where The movement is shown by the particles which are solid, the solid particles. Now, example is smoke. Smoke. Now you will say that where are the solute particles in case of smoke which moves? In when you must have seen smoke contains those black particles which are also known as soot, which is also known as soot, or these are unburned carbon particles. Unburned carbon particles, which is known as soot, and you will find that these unburned carbon particles, they also move in the smoke, and this is the diffusion of solid solute particles. This is the diffusion of solid solute particles, and when there is movement of solute particles, we say that diffusion is taking place. So this is the movement of the example which I have given you, soot in the smoke. It is an example of solid solute particles movement. The second type of movement is the liquid solute particles. Where have you seen the movement of liquid solute particles? The movement of liquid solute particles can be seen in, when you make lime juice. When you make lime juice, what do we have in lime juice? Lime juice is lime plus water, the lime extract plus water. This makes lime juice plus sugar or whatever you add. So, but basically the basic things required to make lime juice is lime and water. Now, what is lime? Lime is added to the water. When you make lime juice, lime is added to the water, and this lime is liquid. Lime extract is added, and lime extract is liquid, which is solute when it is added to water. Yes, here the lime is solute because lime has been added, lime extract. Lime extract means when we, squeeze the lime, what we get is lime extract. When we squeeze lemon, when we squeeze lemon, what we get is lime extract. So when this lime extract is added to water, we get lime juice. So this lime extract in water, when lime extract is added in water, lime extract becomes solute and water is solvent. So this is the movement of liquid solute particle, and the example is lime juice, where this is the solute and this water is the solvent. So this is another example which shows the movement of liquid solute particles. The third type is gaseous solute particles. The third type of movement is gaseous solute particles. And what is this gaseous solute particles? Gaseous solute particles is when the gas, it moves, gas becomes the solute and moves in the solvent. Now, in which condition the gas becomes solute? Where gas is a solute and is mixed in the solvent. This condition is seen in carbonated drinks. Carbonated drinks. Carbonated drinks are the drinks like you get Thumbs Up, Coke. These are carbonated drinks. Now, what happens here? How the gaseous particles become solute here? The gaseous particles are considered as solute because in this, what do we have? When we open a Thumbs Up bottle, the air comes out, rushes out, and that is CO2, which is added to water. So it is simply CO2. Carbonated drinks has CO2, which is added to water. This makes carbonated drinks. So this is simply CO2 which is added to the water, and for taste then they add sugar, okay, a lot of sugar. Now here, these carbonated drinks are the drinks in which carbon dioxide is added to water. Now here, carbon dioxide becomes solute and water becomes solvent. Water becomes solvent and CO2 becomes solute. So this is the movement of gaseous solute particles, and the example is carbonated drinks, where in carbonated drinks CO2 is added to water, thus CO2 becomes solvent, solute, and H2O is solvent. So this movement of solute particles is understood in the three forms. Movement of solute particles in three forms is clear to you all, or shall I repeat anything in this? Okay, I have got two responses. Yes. Others, could you understand or any problem in this? Yes. Yes, beta. Okay. Sanvi, smoke one. Can you repeat once? Okay. Yashika is saying understood. So Sanvi wants the smoke one to be. So I'll repeat the smoke one to you. Smoke one is, you must have seen smoke when something is burnt, when you burn papers or when you burn anything, wood or anything, when it is burnt, the smoke comes out. If you see properly, the smoke contains the gaseous part as well as small unburnt carbon particles, which is known as soot. Small unburnt carbon particles are also present, which is known as soot. Okay, smoke has smoke, fine, but in smoke, what is there? Small unburnt carbon particles, which is known as soot. This soot is these are solid particles, because when you burn paper, what happens? Smoke is there, but along with smoke, unburned small particles of paper are also there. Or when wood is burned, the smoke is there. Along with smoke, small unburned particles of wood is also there. Okay, so what happens? This forms the solid particles. These unburned carbon particles are solid particles. We call it soot. That means these unburned carbon particles, which are solid, forms the solute. And where are these solute present? These are present in smoke. So this soot forms the solute. The smoke forms the, in which they are moving, forms the solvent. So here, this is how the solute, the soot, unburned carbon particles, they move in the smoke, which forms a solid solute particles. Okay, clear beta? Clear beta, this one, this topic in coke, which is the solvent. I told you, when you open a coke bottle, what happens? The gas rushes out. Gas rushes out. Which gas is that? That is carbon dioxide, which comes out with rushingly, which comes out. That is carbon dioxide. And what are these carbonated drinks? These are simply CO2 plus water, and for taste they add sugar. Okay, so that is CO2. CO2 which rushes out. So CO2 is mixed with water to form carbonated drinks. Now, when CO2 is mixed with water, it forms carbonated drinks. That means what is CO2? It's a solute. And what is H2O? It is the solvent. So this forms carbonated drink, CO2 plus water. Is it okay? Okay. Any other problem in this? Yes, beta. Any other problem or anything which you could not understand in this? I can repeat. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I have got the messages that it is clear. Now I come to the next topic, and that topic is factors affecting diffusion. Which factors affect diffusion? The next topic is factors affecting diffusion. Now, what are those factors which affect diffusion? The first factor which affects diffusion is temperature. So the first factor is temperature. And how this temperature is going to affect the rate of diffusion. This I'm going to discuss with you now. Now, the temperature, of course, it affects the rate of diffusion. When the temperature is increased, the rate of diffusion increases. So, increase in temperature, increase in temperature, increases rate of diffusion. That means when the temperature is increased, the rate of diffusion is increased. Now, why it happens? See, where have you seen this, that the rate of diffusion increases with increase in temperature? You have made some dish, say a sabzi you have made, and that sabzi while cooking, okay, you have added a number of spices into it. So while cooking, the smell of this thing, the sabzi you are cooking, it goes to the neighboring house also, or it goes nearby also, or in the veranda it comes. You can smell it in from the kitchen into the rooms. Okay, why this happens? This happens because the food is hot at this time. You are cooking it and the food is hot. Now what happens? Because of the hot food, the diffusion rate has increased, and because the diffusion rate has increased, that means the particles are moving from one area to another at a faster rate. Okay, because of the increase in temperature, the rate of diffusion increases. Because the food is being cooked, it is hot, so there is increase in temperature, and as a result you can smell that hot food from the kitchen into your room. From the kitchen into your room you can smell it. That is because the food is hot. Now if you see some sabzi, after eating, some sabzi is there still left. Now what do? You put that in a bowl and put it in the fridge. Next morning when you take it out, you will not smell it. The cold, if the content of the bowl, the sabzi, if it is cold, you will not smell it from the kitchen into your room. But while cooking or when it is hot, you can smell the sabzi from the kitchen into your room. But once it is cold, you will not be able to smell it from the kitchen into your room. This is because the temperature has decreased. When the temperature decreases, the rate of diffusion also decreases. Now, why this happens? Now, this happens because increase in temperature increases the kinetic energy of the particles. So, increase in temperature increases the kinetic energy, also described as Ke, kinetic energy of the solute particles. So when the food is hot, or you are taking out a cold sabzi from the fridge and heating it on the gas, then also you will smell it. But unless it is cold, you will not be able to smell it from the kitchen into your room. But once you start heating it, you will be able to smell it from the kitchen into your room. So increase, why this happens? Because when the temperature is increased, the kinetic energy of the solute particles increase, and they start moving, at a faster rate. And when they move to a certain distance, they start moving, and they move to a certain distance, and till the distance they can travel, till there you can smell it. You can smell the heated food, or the diffusion can take place. So increase in temperature increases the kinetic energy, because of which the kinetic energy of the solute particles increase. And when the kinetic energy of solute particles increase, they move at a faster rate, and the rate of diffusion increases. Okay, but when it is cold, when less temperature, when the temperature is less, what happens? The kinetic energy decreases, the solute particles, they do not move at a faster rate, and rate of diffusion comes down. So what happens when the temperature is decreased? So lower temperature, when the temperature is lower, what happens? There is decrease in kinetic energy. The kinetic energy decreases. When the kinetic energy decreases, what happens? The uh, movement of solute particles is slow. Movement of solute particles is slow, and rate of diffusion decreases. So is this point clear to you all, beta? Is this point clear about the temperature, that how temperature affects the diffusion rate? Increase in temperature increases rate of diffusion, decrease in temperature decreases rate of diffusion, and this takes place only because the kinetic energy decreases or the kinetic energy increases. Yes. I want your response. Anything which you could not understand? Okay. Yes, it's clear. Yes, Sanvi, Yashika, Lalit, Sarthak Mahajan. Is it clear? Okay. So this is how the temperature affects the rate of diffusion. The second point is density of the medium. Okay, Shiksha is also saying it's clear. Second point is density of the medium. Density of the medium. How density of the medium affects the rate of diffusion? That means whether the particles, they move fast in a dense medium or a less dense medium. Where do the solute particles move fast? Now, density of the medium, it was observed by a scientist. The name was Graham, and he gave a law which is also known as Graham's law. Graham's law. According to Graham's law, D according to Graham's law, D is equal to sorry, not D is equal to, D is directly proportional to, not inversely proportional to, 1 over under root D. D is proportional to 1 over under root D. Now, what is this D here and what is small d here? The capital D in this case is rate of diffusion, where capital D is equal to rate of diffusion. And the small d in this case is the density of the medium. This is density of the medium. Capital D is the rate of diffusion, small d is the density of the medium. And what Graham described, he said that denser is the medium, slower is the rate of diffusion. That means if the medium is denser, more denser the medium, slower the rate of diffusion. That means the denser the medium, the slower the rate of diffusion. And if the medium is less dense, then the rate of diffusion is faster. So denser the medium, slower is the rate of diffusion. See now, I'll describe you how this is possible in case of three states of matter. Like we have solids, we have liquids, okay, and we have gases. Now, out of these three medium, which medium is most dense? Out of these three states of matter, which medium, whether solid medium is very most dense, then liquid, then gases, or out of the three, which medium can you tell me is most dense? Which of the medium? It is solid. And the least dense is gases. Now we see that the rate of diffusion is fastest in this. In gases, it is fastest because why it is fastest? Because gases are least dense. Because the gases are least dense. Then liquids, fast, because it is, of course, it is dense, but less than gases. And these are most dense, and this here the rate of diffusion is slow. If it is solid, the rate of diffusion is slow. That means the less denser the medium, the faster the rate of diffusion. So the rate of diffusion depends on the density of the medium. So this way you can understand that the solids being most dense, the rate of diffusion is slowest, whereas gases being least dense, the rate of diffusion of solute particles is maximum, is fastest and is maximum. So the second point is clear to you, density of the medium, how it affects the process of diffusion. Is it clear, beta? Is the second point clear to you? Anything you want to understand in this? Okay. Okay. Yes. So this point is also clear. Now the next point which is there is the distance. Is the distance. The third point which affects the rate of diffusion is the distance. How distance affects the rate of diffusion? See, if the solute particles have to travel a long distance, okay, then the rate of diffusion will be slow. If the particles have to travel less distance, then the rate of diffusion will be more. So less distance to be traveled, faster the rate of, faster diffusion rate. If the distance to be traveled is less, the diffusion rate is faster. If the distance to be traveled is more, the diffusion rate is slower. So this is how the distance affects the process of diffusion. Then another is concentration gradient. Okay. The next factor, this was third factor. The fourth factor is concentration gradient. Now, what do we mean by concentration gradient? How it is going to affect the rate of diffusion? Concentration gradient. Now, beta, this concentration gradient, it can be less or it can be more. Suppose we have a system in which the difference, where the diffusion is taking place, and the difference between two sites is, suppose this is one first setup, A setup, and we have another setup, B setup. Now here, it has to travel, diffusion has to take place from here to here, this location to this location. And here the concentration, say, is 100 units. And here the concentration is 80 units. Now this is another setup where the diffusion has to take place from this location to this location. And here the concentration is, say, 100. Again,